Okay, St. Kitts has drastically lowered the amount that you invest in the real estate option with St. Kitts and Nevis. The fees right now for the government fees are the lowest they've been in around about 18 years, 16 years, right in there. And they're actually cheaper than they were back 16 years ago. I'll give you a quick history before I go over these total fees. I'm going to give you everything except for the lawyer's fee, which, that depends on who you hire. But just to give you a quick history on this, the fee or the investment for the real estate option back around 2005 was around $250,000. That was whether you went in a house or in a condo. It didn't make any difference. And they didn't have the fractional shares back then. It was strictly where you just bought a unit, and that was $250,000. And then 2006, thereabouts, it went up to around $350,000 right in there. And then right after they went up on that, they immediately went up to $400,000. Now, they never dropped it below that point except for buying fractional units, which was $200,000. And they had that for a short period of time. And now that's been dropped off. So now what they've got is but this is the first time in about 16 years they have dropped the actual total investment for the property that you're buying, other than the fractional units, from $400,000 to under. Now they've dropped it $75,000 to $325,000. Okay, I don't think you're going to see this any cheaper in my lifetime. Now, I told this to people when they were looking at the donation option, and when it dropped to $125,000, I said, you better jump on this quick. And some people did. A lot of people jumped in at that point. But a lot of people that didn't, they thought it was going to get cheaper. And now what's happened is the OECD countries have mandated that all the fast track programs now, if they want to keep the Schengen countries in their portfolio with their passport, they're going to have to keep their donation option at least at $200,000. So you're not going to see a race to the bottom on fees anymore on that donation option. If anything, it's going to probably go up. Okay. Now it went from, of course, $125,000 with St. Kitts on the donation option up to $250,000. My suggestion, this is the lowest it's been in 16 years on the real estate option. I've not seen it this low at all for 16 years. Okay. Now, it's not just the amount you're putting in the real estate. The amount you're putting in government fees is $10,000, because it used to be $35,000 in the year 2006 for the primary. Now it's $25,000 for the primary. The spouses is $15,000, which is the same as it was back then. All right. I remember these things real good. I don't even have to write those figures down because I still remember them. But I'm going to give you the actual fees. You can add these fees up because everybody's going to be different, because some people have children that are older than others, and they have more quantities of children too. So you have to take that as a factor too. But I can give you figures. It's very easy to add it up. Okay, and if you miss this, just miss the figure, just play this back over again. Okay. Now, the developer's real estate investment option is the first option. Okay. Now, a trust and strategic diversification strategy. This is for your portfolio. Discerning investors may apply for citizenship through the purchasing of a designated real estate unit of an approved development. Now, the minimum real estate investment in an approved development is $325,000 US dollars, resellable after 7 years, to be paid to the developer for each applicant. Now, if you sell it before the 7 years out, they can revoke your passport. So this is something you definitely don't want to do. Within 120 days to 180 days of acknowledgement from the Citizenship by Investment unit of submission of the Citizenship by Investment application, the unit will advise whether an application is approved in principle, denied, or delayed for cause and is being processed. So you have 3 different scenarios that you can come across. Now, the first set of fees here, other than the property I just gave you, which was $325,000, which again was reduced from $400,000 to $325,000, that's $75,000 that's dropped. And one note I want to make to you too, though, the price requirement has dropped on the real estate, but I'm going to tell you the properties have gone up quite a bit since 16 years ago. So you're not getting the same size property that you are. Realistically, you're not going to get the same sort of property square footage wise today for $325,000 that you could have back when it was in 2005 or 6, right in there. Now, the main applicant on the due diligence fee is $10,000 US. Each dependent age 16 and over is $7,500. Now, each main applicant is required to attend an interview conducted by an independent professional firm commissioned by the unit or by officials of the unit, either virtually, in person in St. Kitts and Nevis, or in person at such other location approved by the Board of Governors. Now, dependents age 16 and over may be deemed necessary, also be required to attend an interview. Now, on approved in principle of an application made through a real estate investment, the following approval application fees apply. The main applicant's $25,000. This is the fee I told you before was $35,000. This is a government fee, so it's dropped $10,000 US dollars. We're looking at 16, 18 years later, roughly, about 18 years later. Actually, 19 years later, because it's 2005. Spouse of the main applicant's $15,000. That's the same amount as it was back, 19 years ago, 18 years ago, right in there. Any qualified dependent under 18 is $10,000 US dollars. Any qualified dependent age 18 over is $15,000 US dollars. Now, in addition to these fees, real estate buyers should be aware of purchase costs, mainly compulsory insurance, fund contributions, and conveyance fees. All right, let me tell you what this is, and I can't give you a price. I can give you a percentage because, I don't know what you're going to be purchasing the property for, but whatever you purchase the property for, take that figure, divide it by 500, and whatever fee you get for that, okay, if it's $325,000 you purchase it for, divide it by 500, and that amount is what you would pay. And that's kind of like title insurance, but they call them compulsory insurance fund contributions here, but it protects the title if there's fraud involved. Now, you also got conveyance fees. What this does is this is the transfer of the property, the cost that you pay the lawyer to actually switch the seller's name over to the buyer's name. And typically, it's going to average right around 2%. That's what you're going to pay for that. That's the going rate that lawyers charge for that. So you just take 2% of where the purchase price is, and that's the legal fee for that. Now, on the approved developments, there's roughly about 32 developments now. About roughly 2/3 to 3/4 of those right now are in St. Kitts. One reason you have that, more developers are building St. Kitts because you've got more people wanting to live in St. Kitts. It's also going to be easier to resell your property. I've got tons of videos on the difference in St. Kitts and Nevis. You get more doctors in St. Kitts. You've got more lawyers. You got more of everything: plumbers, contractors, electricians, people that are carpenters, and that comes in handy when you're down in the Caribbean because you want a lot of people to choose from to get bids on when you need things done. I'm telling you, you don't think about this in places like New York City, but you do in smaller countries. Trust me, you want that, okay? So, and also some of these, I hate to badmouth, but I want to be upfront with people, is there's 32 developments in here. I called probably all of these for one thing or another. I went through this list, and there's probably, I'm not going to mention their names or anything like this, but in the list, only about 1/3 to 1/4 would someone pick the phone up and or if it was a recording or something like that, call me back. Out of 32 of them, that's the service that you can expect, okay? Now, that's why I say when you deal with us, we can tell you who are the good firms and the ones to stay away from, okay? Because we've had issues down here, and I let people know that when they come here. So you want to make sure you're dealing with someone that's been in St. Kitts for a long time, okay, and didn't spring in here and spring out. I've done other videos on this. I mean, this is not the first time I've done this. You want to get someone who preferably grew up in St. Kitts. Their family's been here for years. They've got a lot to lose if they screw you over, okay? Companies that spring in and they're here for this development, they're going to be gone. I'm going to tell you something. Personally, I would stay away from them, okay? I would get somebody who's been here for years and they got a track record of building, and we can refer you to some real good developers here that you can look for this. All right, now, and you want to be careful also on lawyers that you pick. Man, that's, I could tell you nightmares on that. We've gone through quite a few lawyers that we've dealt with. We've got a real good firm we're dealing with right now, but I'll tell you something, we had to go through a lot of different firms before we found this one. Now the next option is what's called the private real estate sale. Now the fees are similar, but they work a little bit different. The private real estate sale, the minimum investment in a condominium unit or share in a real estate development designated as an approved private real estate is $325,000. So here, you can. A lot of these people are people that are reselling their property in this option here. It's not maybe necessarily through a developer. These are resales from condominiums or houses. This can be fractional units, or it can be, a condominium. It can be a condominium where it's fractional units, or a condominium where you're buying the full unit. But I'm going to tell you, as I mentioned in other videos, you ought to stay away from fractional units. They're harder to resell, and it's a lot better to own the whole unit. I mean, I've done other videos on that. Now, the minimum investment in a single-family private dwelling home, remember I mentioned just a second ago the condominium. Now, this is a private home designated as an approved private real estate is $600,000 US. Now, remember this dropped from $800,000 to $600,000 for the private home. The condominiums dropped from $400,000 to $325,000. So there was $75,000 drop on the condos and $200,000 on the houses. Also, folks, if you can do us a big favor, we don't monetize this channel, and it would do us a big favor again if you would give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and also don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here. You get new videos automatically as they come out, and pass this video around to your friends. And this helps us on the algorithm and gets us further up, and we can, do more for you and get these videos out to a lot more people. Now, again, let's look at the resale on how that works. Now, a property purchased under the private real estate sale investment option shall not be resold for a period of less than 7 years. Again, if you try to sell it before that time period, the government can revoke your citizenship. The approved private real estate sale does not qualify for purchase in a subsequent citizenship by investment application unless the federal cabinet is satisfied that substantial further investment was injected into the real estate unit by way of further construction renovation, like painting or something like this, or otherwise. What they don't want is someone to be not taking care of a property and then selling junk property to the next person, okay? And that's what they're trying to keep from having. They don't want people to be, they want people to be buying properties that look really nice. So this has to be reapproved. And there is no, right now, this could change, but right now there is no cost to the government to do this. If you hire a company, like we actually do this for people, or you can get someone else to do it for you, we can actually get it approved for resale if you want to use our firm, or you can use another firm, or you can do it yourself if you want to do that. Let's look at the application process on this. Now, with 120 to 180 days of acknowledgement from the unit of submission of the citizenship by investment application, the unit will advise whether an application is approved in principle, denied, or delayed for cause and still being processed. Now, typically we're looking at 4 to 8 months to get all this approved. I mean, but typically that range is going to be there unless there's a lot of hiccups or you left out some of out of the application. And if you left out something that's pertinent, this is civil or criminal issue, they can cancel, they can just refuse you right off the bat. So you want to make sure that you're totally open on that application. Any sort of civil or criminal issues, I don't care how far back it goes, bring it out, okay? That way you get it on the table. Now, there are some things we can do. We can actually, if you've got a criminal type issue, it doesn't mean that you can't get approved. It depends on how long ago it was. Did you spend any time in prison? How many years did you spend in prison? Was it civil, criminal? There's a lot of things they look at, okay? So we can actually contact the citizenship unit and check with them and find out, we don't have to mention your name, but we can find out for your type of condition or your situation, what is the likelihood of this thing getting approved? Now, they can't guarantee anything, okay? So you can't hold anybody to that, but we can kind of whittle through it to find out what are the chances of you getting approved. Like a lot of people, when they get turned down, it's quite evident right up front, but we can let you know at that point. Now, the following due diligence fees apply to all citizenship applications on this. The main applicant, again, is $10,000. That's a government fee. I'm sorry, that's the due diligence fee for the main applicant, and each dependent age 16 and over is $7,500 US. Now, each main applicant is required on this option also to attend an interview conducted by an independent professional firm commissioned by the unit or by officials of the unit, either virtually, in person, in St. Kitts and Nevis, or in person at such other location approved by the Board of Governors. Now, dependents age 16 and over may be deemed necessary, also be required to attend an interview. Now, on the own approval and principle of an application made through an approved private real estate investment, the following post-approval application fees will apply. These are the fees you have to pay for, right after you get approved, okay? You have to immediately send in that for the main applicant is $25,000, the spouse is $15,000, any qualified dependent under 18 is $10,000, any qualified dependent age 18 and over is $15,000. So those fees are the same. The only thing is pretty much the investment, okay? And then, of course, remember the fees on the insurance and the that's the same too, but the percentage is the same. It's just that depending on what you pay for the property will determine, what you're paying for that conveyance fee or the insurance cost to cover the, I call it title insurance, but it guarantees the title if there's fraud involved. If you want to know more on this, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And folks, if you want to legally get around high income taxes, how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months, look at our videos. You can learn a lot on this by hitting the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here. You'll get new videos automatically as they come out. And look at the flag theory on our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and you'll get a lot of good information from that. And folks, when you pick a passport, a fast-track passport program, pick one that doesn't have an income tax. I've told this to people over and over again. I've seen so many people get one in the fast-track program that has an income tax. They regret it. They go back. I've seen people in my business make that mistake. They go back and get one that doesn't have an income tax, like Antigua or St. Kitts, and then they just waste so much money by doing that because there's so much overlap in those countries that they have visa-free travel to. But not having an income tax, that's a big deal, man. That's what. Anyway, go look at my website again and look at the flag theory and memorize that. That can help you for making a lot of big mistakes in the future. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Take care.